Okay, good morning or good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jennifer Gill, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing here at Skyhawk Security. We're going to talk about how to stop alert fatigue with unified vulnerability management with AI-driven breach analysis. So one housekeeping thing, we welcome questions throughout the webinar. We might wait until the end to take them, but certainly you're more than welcome to ask questions throughout. If it's relevant to the slide that we're on, I will kind of interrupt us off and ask a question, but please do keep your questions coming. So this is our agenda. So we'll go through speakers, who is Skyhawk. We'll talk about how many vulnerabilities are in your CNAPP, your vulnerability management, or CSPM platform. We'll go over our platform, the Skyhawk Security Synthesis platform, and then Asaf will give a demo. We'll talk about another issue that we typically see with CSPM findings or CNAPP findings and the compensating controls that are needed. We'll look at real-time threat detection, customer case study, and then just a summary of the product, and then how you can get started with Skyhawk. So it does seem like a pretty full agenda, but we do usually finish in about 35 minutes. Okay, so first I'd like to introduce Asaf Shahar. He's our VP of Product. He's had over 20 years of experience in product management, over 15 years in leadership positions, and has over a dozen patents. So thank you, Asaf, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I'm Jennifer Gill. I'm the VP of Product Marketing, and actually now that should just say marketing. And I have over 20 years of high-tech experience as well. I've been in product marketing for many, many years, and I've had leadership positions at Zerto, Commvault, Pegasystems, and of course here at Skyhawk. So who is Skyhawk, in case you haven't heard of us? So we are an AI-based cloud security CDR and purple team platform. And we say purple team because it's a red team and blue team, and we'll get into that once we go over the products a little bit more. We have a global customer base, everyone from the Fortune 100 to SMEs. And although we do work in the cloud, so it's very much a horizontal solution, we do see pockets of customers in finance, healthcare, manufacturing, and technology. As I mentioned, we support the major public clouds as well as Kubernetes, and we've gotten quite a few awards and recognition. So we were a finalist in the Cube Award. We get Stellar Startups for 23 and 24. We've been a finalist in one of the security awards. So a lot of awards and recognition for us. So what's the problem? So if you went into your CNAPP or CSPM right now, how many vulnerabilities and CVEs would you see? So this is some data that we found. So there can be up to 115 vulnerabilities per cloud asset. And then think about how many cloud assets you have in your cloud. So we're looking at thousands and thousands of issues within your cloud. And here's a little sneak peek from the demo. If we look at Skyhawk, we're able to prioritize these thousands and thousands of vulnerabilities from the total vulnerabilities you have down to what's exploitable, then to what is weaponized, and then finally, the most important ones, which are affecting your crown jewels. Those are the ones you really want to focus on first. So I know we have a few definitions here. So Asaf, a quick question for you. How, at Skyhawk, how do we differentiate between weaponized and exploitable?
Good question, Jennifer. So we regard exploitable a CV that can be used either to initial access, lateral movement, or an impact, and have a, a live exploiter in the wild. So this is theoretically exploitable. Weaponized is a vulnerability that we are able to identify an active attack path that involve this vulnerability. So you may have a vulnerability that on paper is exploitable, but there is no active attack path that we can attribute to that. So what is important is to look at your attack surface and to handle the items, the vulnerabilities that facilitate the attack path and not just sitting there and nobody can actually use them as part of an active attack.
Okay, great. Sounds good. So I have 2 quick slides on the platform, and then we're already going to jump into the demo because I think that's what most people want to see. So we're an AI-based preemptive cloud security platform, and we have an AI-based red team that fights an AI-based blue team. Where the red team gets past the blue team, that's what we use to prioritize those fixes. So we do this in a simulation twin environment. So this is all done on our side, all within our SaaS platform. So there's no impact to your environment. I had one customer say, if you do the simulation, I'm going to get a lot of alerts. Nothing is done within your environment. This is all done within our environment. And you can see we are continuously reading logs, cloud inventory data. We're pulling this all the time to ensure that we're able to have an accurate representation of your cloud. And so for the blue team, that's actually our cloud threat detection and response. And that's how Skyhawk got started. So we have 3 layers of machine learning in AI that sort through through logs, inventory, telemetry data, and we create machine learning models and we look for when things kind of start to deviate from that model. So we're able to predict the behavior that we expect to see. And then when we start to see things not going the way we expect them, we start to correlate them into malicious behavior indicators. Those are further sequenced into an attack sequence. And then we have generative AI, which is like our generative AI CISO, that's looking at the overall risk profile. So, and I can give you a customer example. So we had one customer, all of a sudden they noticed there was a lot of EC2 instances being spun up in their environment. Now, the person who did this was allowed to do it, but so many came online so quickly and were consuming so much processing power. It was like, this is an odd behavior. We need to look into this. It turns out an employee had spun up a crypto mining farm within their company's cloud. So that's obviously not something they wanted to happen. We were able to detect that in less than 1 minute, and within 3 minutes, that was taken down by the company. It was just how quickly they could react. So even though that person had all those permissions to spin up that infrastructure environment, we still saw it as an anomaly. So, and that's the real power of the real-time cloud threat detection and response. And you can see there we have, our SOC 2 compliance, our ISO 2700. This is patent pending technology, and of course our competency. So I'm going to go into more detail on the purple team. So now you know exactly how the blue team, the CDR, works. So what the AI-based red team does is it discovers all the inventory and configuration and it identifies the crown jewel assets specifically. We can do that with business priority rules that you set yourself. And we also integrate with Macy if you happen to use that within your cloud to help identify the most valuable data assets within your cloud. So those are discovered. It analyzes the least resistant paths to the most important crown jewels, and then it creates an attack. It executes that attack against the threat detection, and then we find posture gaps, generate automated response or remediation recommendations. And this is also how we prioritize the vulnerabilities that need to be addressed first. So then lastly, the CDR that I mentioned, those layers of machine learning models, we can see through this attack if we need to update the models. Because now that the attack has been rehearsed and the platform has seen it, it knows, oh, when it gets to this point, I don't want this attacker to proceed, so it can update the detection. So Asaf, before I turn it over to you for the demo, is there anything that I missed?
Yeah, just to clarify, you said that we execute the attack. We don't execute the attack on the environment.
Yes.
We analyze on the model that we create. So after we take all the inventory, all the configuration, we build this model of the environment and basically analyze all the possible attack path on this model. We don't actually execute the attack itself on the environment. Just
Yeah,
to
no, good
clarify
catch.
that.
So simulation twin technology, that's how we do it. So there's no impact. Thank you, Asaf. So with that, I am going to stop sharing. And then you should be able to share now. And it's coming through. There we go. I see it. You're on the overview page.
Yeah, so this is the landing page of our portal. It summarizes all the different aspects of the findings that we have in the system. In today's presentation, we will focus on the attack surface management or the red team, and we will slightly touch the threat detection. So we mentioned that we do the attack surface simulation or breach and attack simulation. Here we can see a list of different scenarios of attacks. Each one of these scenarios represent one type or a type of attack vector that may have multiple permutation. Let me just show an example. So what we see here is an example of a attack scenario. We see that there is an initial access that is facilitated through a critical CV that allows the attacker to execute a remote command execution on this machine, which is publicly exposed. And from there, he is doing a lateral movement by using the machine role, and then utilize this role to get to another machine and so on until he gets to a role that can exfiltrate data, or in this case, encrypt the data on this database. So on each, so we actually create this elaborate attack scenario. You can see the attack script, how it will play out command by command. So each step, it's not just theoretical. You can take the commands that we show here, do a copy paste, run it, and the command will be executed. It's all with all the parameters, the specifics to the environment, so you can see exactly how the playbook of the attack looks like. We also show you what are the controls that will be triggered if this attack will be executed. So there are controls that we are providing our attack detection. So we show here what will be the detectors that will be popping out or triggered in our system. We also are able to show controls from other system. In this case, which we show if you are using guard duty, this will be the controls or the events that will be triggered for this attack. By looking at the controls, you can understand whether you have the proper controls to identify the attack if it would actually be executed. Another interesting thing is that we have something that we call security advisor that summarize the attack, explain what happens in the attack, what are the root cause that facilitate the attack. But we also give you the ability to prepare for this attack by creating a response playbook. So for each one of the attack steps, you can see what are our suggestions for response actions. You can review them. You can select which ones you want to incorporate, and then you can create the playbook by different platform. For example, if I want Python, I can generate a Python script, and I can download it or copy paste it. And basically, this is the playbook that you prepare in case. And you can see here, this is the script. This is the playbook that you should execute if this attack would play out. In our threat detection, we are creating the correlation to the simulation. So if you'd get a similar attack, you would see the playbook that was validated prior. So this is what we call a proactive approach for threat for security, because we are allowing you to prepare your responses upfront to a future incident, and to validate the action that you want to take. I will quickly show how our threat detection looks like. So basically, the threat detection is looking at different malicious indicators, creating a correlation between them. And once we have enough evidence that there is a malicious intent behind this sequence of events, we are triggering an alert and showing you not a tidbit of information that this anomaly happened and that anomaly happened. We show you the entire sequence of event with all the evidence that you need, who did what was the parameter that was sent. You don't need to go to any other portal or logs to get the information. We give you all the information that you need to do the triage and to get a quick decision whether this is something that you need to act upon and what is the action that you need to do. We also have the ability to trigger an auto response. You can see in this case, in this attack, there was an auto response that was invoked. We are doing that by triggering a Lambda function or SNS, depending on the platform, or webhook that execute the required response actions. So this is in a very quick overview of our attack detection. Now I will go back to the attack surface, and we mentioned that our goal is to reduce the alert fatigue that you have, handling vulnerabilities. So by doing the analysis of the attack surface, we are able to do the analysis. For example, for each vulnerability, how many active weaponized attack vectors there are, and by that prioritize and tell you which one you actually need to do. In this environment, this is a real environment. You can see that there are more than 100,000 CVEs. 7,000 are exploitable, and only 3 are actually weaponized. If I see how many unique not instances, you can see that this is the number of unique instances that you need to actually resolve. And we show you for each one of these CV what are the active attack vectors, so you can see by yourself what are the potential risks from each one of these CVEs, which impact point there may be, and take a decision which one you actually need to prioritize in remediation. So I think I got the gist of the analysis and the how we do the vulnerability management. Back to you, Jennifer.
Okay, one question came in actually, Asaf, while you were talking, a couple, but one I think that's relevant here. So it says, does the model contain all the configurations of the simulated environment? And how much access is required to build this model?
Okay, good question. So we are 100% agentless. We only need read permission to get all the inventory and the setting from the cloud environment. So it's only read permission. We get all the information. We build the model, both the IEM topology and the network topology. And on top of that, we are doing all the attack simulation.
Okay, great. So one thing that we saw, and this was, I don't know if anyone saw this on LinkedIn about, maybe it's 3 months ago, maybe it was 6, I can't remember. Oops, went too fast. But this talks about when you see those critical vulnerabilities, it can take 128 days to fix them. So that's why it's so important to make sure that first you're looking at the ones that are truly weaponized and impacting crown jewels. But if you do happen to have more than 3, like you saw in our environment, and it does take a little bit, you need a compensated control. And that's where our real-time threat detection really comes in. And I'm going to provide a little bit more detail on how it works. So as Asaf just mentioned for the question, we are taking data sources, logs, telemetry, we're pulling that all into the platform. And then we create machine learning models. So the data is enriched, and then we build the baseline behaviors that I discussed earlier. And we have 3 layers of these machine learning models. So we build them at a very granular level. So for example, what's the typical API usage for a role, all the way up to what is the network profile for your entire cloud. And then we also have models that look across all our customers' clouds for risk and things like that. So there are many, many models that are policing the behaviors that are happening in your cloud. And these models are updated every single day by the data science team. And I'm honestly in awe that they managed to do that, but they do. And that's to ensure that as you make changes to your cloud architecture, that the models are always in line with that, because you went to the cloud because it's dynamic and agile. The models that are securing it need to be dynamic and agile as well. So, and then from those models, they kind of sort through all the data, and you saw in the demo already the sequence that comes up. So you can see here, it tells you exactly what the anomalous AWS activity, there was an unusual time. So it puts this all together into an alert. So for Skyhawk alerts, there's actually a behavior in your cloud that's happening that you don't want to. We hear from a lot of customers that there's false positives or not real threats, or it was an employee who maybe was over permissioned. You want to sort through all of that and get to what are threat actors doing in your cloud, and that's what's possible with Skyhawk. So, and this is one of our great customers. They did a webinar for us in January. It's up on our YouTube channel. You can get there from our website if you'd like to take a look. So the CISO for IBEX Medical, they're able to save a lot of time with accurate alert prioritization. And you saw in the demo with Asaf, like it's telling you, these are the ones that are weaponizable and these are the ones impacting crown jewels. So that's where you focus your time. So they meet every morning for about an hour, and they're able to really see this is where we need to focus our work. And the AI-based pen testing or the breach and attack simulation, depending on the words that you use, so that's also what you just saw with the SOF, it shows you the full view of everything that's happening, including the outskirts. And these are two really great quotes from the CISO. So they're able to be proactive with your cloud security. I'm sure all of you would love to be proactive. I'm sure it feels like you're under attack all the time, trying to fix things. With Skyhawk, they're able to be proactive. They're able to understand what needs to be done first, and they get hours back in their day. And that's something else we hear from customers, pre-Skyhawk is, you're just always, you're never really doing the work that you would need to because you're always focusing on alerts. This gives you time to focus on those other projects. And then just a couple quotes from Gartner. So we've evolved from CDR to preemptive cybersecurity, and you can see that Gartner's seeing this as a real trend as well. And it's going to be displacing other solutions. The multi-agent AI and threat detection incident response will rise from 5 to 70%. And you saw that in the demo as well. Like it gives you the incident response in Python. You can just copy paste and use that. That's an amazing capability and something that's really going to make things a lot easier for you. And AI is going to drive efficiency in the SOC. That's not no news to anyone, I am sure. So with Skyhawk, you're really able to reduce the risk to the business. So you focused on weaponized threats to reduce your risk profile, prioritize threats to your most valuable assets, incorporate principles of zero trust. We have something called interactive CDR. We didn't talk about it today in the demo, but it's an out-of-band verification so that you can confirm if someone is doing something or not. So it gives you another layer of security with a zero trust aspect. The automated response gets reduced to seconds. And the context drives collaboration. This is something we didn't talk about too much today as well, but we do have a blog on our website called Whose Role Is It Anyway? And this actually happened at reInvent last year. This cloud DevOps guy came by the booth and he's like, look, the security team's coming to us and like, you need to fix this. And I'm showing them an alert and I'm like, it says sandbox right on it. Can't you see that? Like it's on the sandbox, it doesn't matter. And they said the CNAPP said this was a critical vulnerability and we need to fix it. With Skyhawk, you're able to go to that slot, that interface and say, hey, here are the 3 or 5 or 7 that are impacting the risk to the business. These are the ones that are really important, not just what's critical. And that gets you to, again, what Asaf talked about, critical versus weaponized. So we need to see what is going to impact the business. So giving you that context makes the cloud DevOps team and the security ops team friends, because now they're getting a singular view and a better view of everything that's happening in the environment. And I know I'm mentioning a lot of things that we didn't talk about in the webinar, but this will be the last one. The Purple Team Assessment. So this is something that it's a report that's available on the platform. And you can see like the reduction in attack paths, the reduction in risk to crown jewels. And this is something that the board can understand. Because if you, with other products, you might say, oh, we've solved 2,000 alerts this week, making that number up. And they may say, oh, so we're secure, we're not going to be breached. Would any CISO say yes? Probably not. But with our solution and the Purple Team Assessment, you can say we've reduced attack paths and vulnerabilities by 80% or 50% or 20% this week. So we've improved the profile. So, and I think that's what's really hard on security teams is you're spending a lot of money for many different tools and you're still at risk of being breached. And that's why we've taken a preemptive approach to cloud security and kind of rehearsing those attacks. So we can show you, hey, here's the low-hanging fruit. So you can take that away from threat actors. And then once you figure out the low-hanging fruit, then you go to the next level and we'll find that for you as well. So here's how you can try the product. So I already mentioned the Purple Team Assessment. It's we'll create a report for you. You get that as a deliverable, and it'll really show you, what's happening in your environment. The other option is we have a completely free subscription. So you can try the product free for 30 days. And if you go to our homepage right now, skyhawk.security, try for free, click on that. You'll fill out a form. and we'll get you the credentials. You can work with one of our customer success engineers and schedule that onboarding, or you can do it all yourself. It's completely up to you. So we really believe in our product and want to give you full access. Okay, and if you're going to be at reInvent, we're going to be there too. So we're going to be at booth 1223. So if you'd like to see the product in action or talk with me and Saf, because we're both going to be there, you're certainly welcome to do that. So we had a few more questions come in. So in this one I can answer. So one around pricing. So how are you priced? So we're priced by cloud asset. So like EC2 instance, S3 bucket, things like that. I tend to use Amazon terminology because I grew up in the Amazon cloud. The one exception is Lambda, and I can't remember if 20 Lambdas or 50, and I know that's a big difference, but that's what will be considered one cloud asset because they're so small. Okay, so Asaf, this might be a good question for you to answer. What other products do we integrate with or optimize?
So we integrate with several types of product. We have integration with vulnerability scanning systems, like if it's AWS Inspector or Tenable or Wiz, we can ingest the vulnerability from them for the analysis. We also integrate with security controls like GuardDuty. So we can incorporate finding from GuardDuty in our cloud detection. And we also integrate with DSPM, for data sensitivity information, with Macy, with Wiz, and for other product, in order to identify the crown jewel assets.
Okay, great. And I don't see any other questions, and we're finishing right on 34 minutes. So that's great. I said be 30, 35 minutes. So you can all have 25 minutes back in your day. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. A recording of this will be available. And Asaf, thank you so much for helping me out today. I know it's a little later where you are in the world, but thank you for helping me today.
Thank you, Jennifer.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.